Driving a commercial motor vehicle, or a CMV, is a great profession. It offers the independence of the open road, along with a sense of pride that you're performing a duty that is absolutely essential to American commerce. But the job comes with many responsibilities. The greatest responsibility of the professional CMV driver is safety for yourself, for anyone riding with you, and for others on the road. Safety starts with basic driving skills and safe driving habits. But there's more to it. It requires good health and a sharp mind, so you know you're driving at your best, even when others on the road may not be. In this program, we'll discuss the critical topics that every commercial motor vehicle driver should be familiar with, starting with the fact that federal motor carrier safety regulations mandate that drivers meet basic qualifications, including being in good physical health. The physical qualification requirement is so important that you must pass a physical exam and be issued a medical certificate stating that you are physically qualified to drive a CMV. Driver wellness covers how to stay well so you meet the physical qualification requirements and live a longer, healthier life. Next is probably the #1 enemy of every CMV driver: fatigue. You'll learn how to avoid this dangerous but all too common condition by using fatigue prevention strategies and following the hours of service regulations. And finally, one last vital element of safety: whistleblower protection. We'll talk about your right and responsibility to report vehicle safety violations, to refuse to drive in unsafe conditions, and to refuse to violate vehicle safety laws or regulations, including hours of service. Whistleblower protection helps you exercise this right without fear of retaliation. Your chosen profession is a rewarding one, but it's also demanding. Following these universal driving basics make it safer for everyone. To be eligible to drive a commercial motor vehicle, federal law requires you to meet the basic qualifications of a safety-conscious driver. Just what are those qualifications? Part 391 of the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Regulations, or FMCSR, says you're qualified to drive a CMV if you're at least 21 years old, you can read and speak English well enough to converse, understand traffic signs, respond to official inquiries, and fill out required reports. You have experience or training to safely operate the type of vehicle you drive. You're physically qualified to drive. You have a commercial motor vehicle operator's license. You've disclosed accidents and traffic violations to your employer, and you've passed a road test. In the last section, we talked about federal regulations governing driver health. Even if there were no such regulations, getting and staying fit is a good idea. Ask most people and they'll tell you that having their health is one of the things they value most in life. And to a large degree, the quality of your health is up to you. Eating right and exercising pay long-term dividends in better health, more energy, and a greater sense of well-being. It's also important to monitor your health and undergo periodic exams to identify and treat potential problems before they become serious. Why is good health so important to a CMV driver? We said it before, your job is a stressful one. When you're behind the wheel, you need to be constantly alert. You're under pressure to pick up and deliver no matter what the conditions. Add in the loneliness over-the-road drivers can feel when they're away from family and friends, and you have a recipe for trouble. Your best defense is to take care of yourself.
Well, for one thing, it comes back to his physical standards. If they don't maintain their health, they're not going to have a CDL very long.
Well, that's probably the most difficult part of the truck driving job is eating right, eating the right amounts, eating the right foods, when you eat, and watching your weight. It's very difficult on the road to watch your diet. Many drivers or experienced drivers pack fruit, eat at the right times, don't eat too much before you park. And again, get whatever exercise you can. Obviously, there's limits to when you can exercise, but picking those opportunities and using it is important.
Some of the most basic measures of good health are blood cholesterol, blood pressure, and weight. These are each measured and recorded by the person examining you for your medical certificate. So it's important to understand what levels of each are considered healthy. It's also important to understand what you can do to control each of them. Let's start with blood cholesterol. So what is blood cholesterol anyway? It's a fatty, waxy substance in your blood, and if you have too much of it, it forms a brittle substance called plaque that can build up and cause your blood vessels to narrow. The problem is, you don't even know it's happening until it begins to restrict blood flow to organs like your heart and brain, which of course can lead to heart attacks and strokes. As a commercial motor vehicle driver, you'll log a lot of miles on the road and under a variety of conditions. However, after many hours of driving, fatigue sets in, which can lead to bad decisions and, unfortunately, crashes. One way to avoid fatigue is to follow the hours of service regulations, which specify the maximum allowable on-duty and driving time. Originally created over 60 years ago, the hours of service regulations were designed to keep tired drivers off the road. All motor carriers and drivers operating commercial motor vehicles must follow the regulations located in Part 395 of FMCSR. These regulations are based on the idea that if you drive too long, you get tired and dangerous. No one, not the DOT, your dispatcher, other drivers, your family, no one wants tired drivers on the road. That's why millions of drivers like you are required to follow the hours of service regulations, including completing a record of duty status that is accurate and legal. Violations of these regulations carry tough legal consequences for both you and your carrier. There's just one more important topic to cover: whistleblower protection. Just what is whistleblower protection and why is it important to driver safety? Basically, whistleblower protection laws are in place to protect you from retaliation if you report vehicle safety violations to the FMCSA. You're also protected if you testify before the FMCSA, or if you refuse to operate an unsafe vehicle, drive in conditions that may cause serious bodily injury, or violate a vehicle safety law. Safety laws include hours of service requirements, which we discussed earlier. These laws are important for obvious reasons. If there are unsafe or hazardous conditions, they need to be corrected to prevent injury to you or to others, but they need to be brought to someone's attention before they can be corrected. If you make a vehicle safety complaint and it results in termination of employment, demotion, an undesirable reassignment, loss of seniority, loss of personal leave, or any other form of discrimination, you can file a complaint with the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, or OSHA, or you can have someone file it on your behalf. As a CMV driver, your safety is in everyone's interest. Yours, your families, your employers, and the driving public's. Safe drivers are an asset to employers because they help keep insurance rates down and contribute to better service to customers. Following the practices reviewed in this video, maintaining good health, avoiding fatigue, following the hours of service regulations can help make you feel better, drive safer, and able to handle the stresses of your job more easily. Not to mention that it can help you become more valuable to your employer. So, on behalf of your family, your employer, and those who share the road with you, thanks for driving safely.